Hello and welcome to the Milltown Way podcast. This is episode 20. I'm Ryan Brennan. I'm joined here as always by Adam Casey. We have a few bits to get through. We're going to look at, so we're recording this directly after Drogheda United goalless draw, and we'll look at that. We'll look at the 2-0 win over Sligo Rovers that took place on Friday evening, and then we'll also look ahead to the last game before the international break, which is home to Galway United this Friday. But as we might have mentioned already, but this is a bit more of a special episode, Adam.
Yeah, we're recording this on the road.
We're on the road again.
Yeah, so we're currently driving back from Drogheda away from, what's the stadium this week? What's it called?
Sullivan and Lamb Park.
From Sullivan and Lamb Park, yeah, driving back now, and have to get this episode out there, so
yeah, and well,
let's get into it.
Yeah, exactly that. Tomorrow being Paddy's Day, it's quite a tight turnaround, and Galway on Friday, so there's no rest for the wicked, and it's quite a busy schedule. We've had two away games as well. We didn't have time to record an episode between Sligo Rovers and Drogheda United, so like that, with similar.
Another episode where we're covering two games that have happened and talking about another game upcoming.
Yeah, exactly. It's only the one upcoming this time that we're covering, anyways.
True, that's bad. A
bit more of a bit of a change in scenery that way, but yeah, I suppose. So just as a disclaimer for any listeners of this episode, as we are recording on the road, you might hear some maybe indicators, or you might hear the road in the background a little bit, and you might hear some peeping if Adam gets a bit of road rage.
You might hear a bit of road rage, so just ignore that.
Exactly, yeah, that's just background noise.
At least it wasn't you that was raging it.
Or could be. The listeners could be driving home as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so I suppose we'll get into it. As I said, it's a bit of a different episode tonight, so yeah, do bear with us as we are on the road and we don't have all our equipment to hand.
We're not in the studio.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
might as well get into it then.
yeah, so we'll start off with Drogheda United, a game that just took place, goalless draw. Not much to take away from that, not many positives to take away, I suppose, Adam.
No.
Overall, quite flat.
Yeah, overall, from both teams' perspective, it was quite a lackluster game, particularly for Rovers, considering they would have been going into the game wanting them 3 points that bit more, or being expected to get them 3 points that bit more, and it was just a lackluster performance kind of from start to finish. Just the game was very flat. It just felt like both teams never really got going fully, and yeah, there's not a lot. There wasn't many key events in the game. There was a few chances here or there. Rovers kind of started to get into their own towards the end of the first half, and then kind of towards the end of the second half again. But just overall, just very lackluster is the right word. Just not soulless, but
Yeah.
just felt like there was nothing there. Like it was a friendly or something, really.
Yeah, no, it was a frustrating night, and as well as that, it's more even frustrating because there was a chance to take advantage of this goalless draws elsewhere. You know, you had Pat's drawn with Derry City, and you had Bowes drawn with Shell. So of course, look, we always say in every episode so early on, the league standings don't matter too much at this stage. It's getting the good performances, consistency. But
at the end of its time, you look back on nights like this.
That's it.
Well, that's the other end of the sword when it comes to this. Like,
yeah,
when you're looking back, and it's a tight title race, you're looking back at these 0-0 nights at the start of the year when there was a team there for the taking. And I do think if it does come down to this will definitely be one of them games where you think back and go, Rovers should have been coming out with all 3 points tonight.
Yeah, and now on saying that, I'd agree on paper maybe. Well, Drogheda's not an easy place to go either.
Because Sullivan and Lamb, shameless.
Adam thought it was shepherd's pie they'd done.
I don't know why I thought Sullivan and Lamb made shepherd's pie. I thought it was
renowned for their shepherd's pie.
I thought it was like, you know them, like you go to Dunn's and you get them like soups or shepherd's pie, and it's like
the ready ones, like that you heat.
Yeah, it's like the ready ones, and it's like by like a company that's really just Dunn's.
Yeah.
I thought that was like them, but no, they make like granite countertops and stuff, so it's a bit wrong with that. They're not shepherd's pie aficionados.
Yeah. But yeah, no, look, Drogheda away is never easy. Anyway, Rovers have found luck there in the past few visits, but no, it's never. You never walk away from that game thinking how easy it was, or Rovers got give it plenty of time on the ball, plenty of space and stuff. It's just a bit more frustrating. Rovers didn't, like as you said, you look back on the game like that and you think Rovers should get 3 points for it, but tough place to go, and it was a tough game, and Rovers, I don't think based on the performance Rovers deserved to win. I don't think anyone really did. Obviously if it was going to be anyone, if you've seen the game you would have seen it should have been Rovers if it's going to be anyone. If you're just going solely off performance, like Rovers were anything special that they dominated the game, or
no, they had one, like Victor had a good chance, that was a good, forced a good save out of the keeper, and there was the chance towards the end where the keeper just got a hand to him before Aaron Green could get a head onto it. But besides that, they didn't test the keeper that much at all. Like there was a few small chances here or there, but they didn't test McGinty that much either. Like both keepers kind of had a quiet night. It's just frustrating when it's the game, not that you think you deserve to win or you should, it's just a game that you think you definitely could have. And like if you look at Rovers, if Rovers had played like they did against Sligo, they would have got the 3 points there tonight.
I see where you're coming from 100%, and you know Drogheda is just one of them teams, and they qualified for Europe, from their league standing a couple of seasons ago, and obviously got kicked out, but like they're a team that are improving. For Drogheda, they were happy with a point, I think. You can see that from the end.
Taking a point to get off getting a point off the champions.
Double champions at that.
Yeah, double. It's like you're gonna. Points like that for teams who aren't necessarily going to be in the title race makes a big deal. So. Yeah,
like I think, but what I will say about Drogheda, and this is not a Drogheda United podcast, but they're a team that like have that upward trajectory that you think they should be targeting the top.
Yeah.
They should be. Europe's definitely their target, anyways.
You expect them to be in the fall, not necessarily in the title race, but definitely in that. Like last year when there was that race for the European spots, you'd expect them to be in there now. And it's not that it's definitely a possibility for them this year to be in there.
Yeah, I just think they should be like games like this. They should be looking at and trying to win it. Like, and you saw by the performance, they were happy to just kind of sit back and take that draw. And towards the end, they were trying to hit Rovers on a counter attack. Really, that looked like their game plan. Soak the pressure and try just as a quick counter attack and try and get a quick one and get 3 points that way. But like, I just think Kevin Doherty has to play good football. They shouldn't. I don't think they're really at a stage where they should be happy with a draw like that.
No. I have to agree with you there. I think they're a team that they're not like a team who's going to be in the relegation battle where just that 1 point against Rovers is sufficient.
Well, as we say that, they're 8.
Yeah, but still
4 points off the
early days.
Yeah.
I just with the quality of their squad, and then the quality of their management, I can't see them being in the relegation battle. I have a feeling they'll be in that race for Europe towards the end of the year.
Yeah, and as much as we say about the early games that you look back on and think
points count the same. 3 points now is the same as 3 points in September.
Well that's it, exactly that. The positives to look at, I suppose, was you've already mentioned Victor Osimhen.
Yeah,
he did play well.
Got his best match in a long time in a Rovers shirt.
Yeah, and he looked really influential. He looks like every game that he's growing that bit more.
You expect someone that young.
Yeah.
That experience matters. The confidence matters a lot. Like, if you think about it, he's still just a young lad. Like, confidence is going to make a big difference.
You got withdrawn after 68 minutes for Dylan Watts, which I didn't really.
I thought you should. I definitely think Dylan Watts coming on was a good move, but
yeah, Dylan Watts always has a positive.
He could have taken off rather than Victor. I think Victor could have stayed on and probably had a bit more of a positive impact still coming into them final minutes. Because again, when a player's so young, fatigue isn't as big a deal with them. Kind of like they obviously are going to be tired and stuff, but.
And he only played the last 28 minutes against Sligo on Friday.
You're expecting a player who's his age to be able to last longer than an Aaron Green.
Yeah, it's built towards that as well, isn't it? Like, I do think, I know he's younger, he has more ahead of him and stuff, and have more minutes in his legs and so on. But I do think it's all about building that as well. You can't rush into these things and. Managing his workload like everyone, even the likes of Adam Brennan, new signing and stuff coming from UCD, managing that Friday Monday workload is tough, and particularly on the lads. we as fans and stuff maybe look at it.
We can probably be too critical sometimes, I would say.
Like you could, yeah, like in a sense that you think about it as just 2 away games. They still have to do a long trek to Sligo on Friday,
It's
and a long it's not a long trek to Drogheda. On the back of
after a few days, yeah.
So for
quick
Stephen,
turnaround to do it as well.
yeah. So for Stephen Bradley, you trust him more than anyone to manage the workload of the lads, and just kind of keep them where they should be, and not trying to overdo it. And that's maybe why he was withdrawn as well. There was a few kind of, I suppose, grunts around the away end when he did get when his number did go up. Probably supporters, as a surprise, he was putting in a good performance, and it's about managing that kind of balance, because there's, on one hand, you have player getting withdrawn to manage the workload. On the other hand, if he's putting in a positive performance, that's only going to increase his confidence.
Yeah.
Might make him, say, put in a really good performance against Galway on Friday.
Yeah, we'll be taken off. I'd say you expect him to start now against Galway. 4 days rest, you'd expect him to, well, 3 days rest, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but you'll expect him to come on then, I'd say. Well, at least to start against Galway now, but again, you can never guarantee it. When Rovers have so much quality, it's hard to guarantee who's going to start.
Yeah, I'd agree there. The other couple of the stats from the game, leaving Sullivan and Lampard.
It's actually changed names since we left.
It's Shepherd's Pie Connoisseurs.
Shepherd's Pie stage.
66% possession Rovers finished with. They finished with 11 shots, only just 2 on target.
Yeah, that's...
One of them was Victor's chance as well.
And that was like from a good bit out.
Yeah, like it didn't really trouble the keeper too much. So it's
for 66% possession and 11 shots, you'd be expecting a few more on target to be testing the keeper that little bit more.
That was it. Like
tricky.
Particularly in the first half, Rovers were quite slow to get going, and Drogheda kind of dictated. Not that they dictated the play where they were kind of peppering Rovers goal either, but Rovers didn't get their kind of hold of the game, and they struggled with that, I think, and that kind of set them back a little bit. So we're just telling Adam to put the heater on here because
the window's getting too much good podcasting going on.
Exactly, yeah. As I said, we were on the road, so expect a bit of that. Maybe you might be able to hear the air conditioning.
Yeah, I'll only be a brief minute.
Exactly, but no, like that. Rovers were slow to get into it, and it's frustrating. As I said, we'll get onto the Sligo game, but it's frustrating after, on the back of a really positive performance against Sligo. Second half, not getting into the Sligo game yet, but the second half against Sligo wasn't as positive. Pico got sent off. One that maybe was missed tonight, I don't know. A little bit of sloppiness at the back at times.
There was. It was Corey at one stage played a bad ball. That led to a draw and a chance.
Yeah, like there was a couple of short passes there that were just leaving them short.
Short passes are just making the pass difficult for the receiver. There was a lot of that. There was a lot of just overall just sloppiness at the back that you don't get that often from the Rovers back line, especially when Pico's in the squad.
Yeah.
Because I suppose that you can say leadership and stuff like that play a big difference, but it's hard. It's tough. He got the red card, and that was probably the biggest negative impact coming out of that game last Friday.
But that's what, like, you missed that then on tonight, where no Pico, and look, Corey is definitely a player that's developing. He's coming on leaps and bounds 100%.
Yeah, and he's continuing to. He has already come on leaps and bounds, and he is still doing it.
Yeah, and even there was a couple of moments from Corey tonight where he was maybe a little bit sloppy and so on. But as well as that, with Corey, there was particularly one moment I remember, and I think it was maybe the second half, gives the ball away, but then immediately you can see the determination to get it back and end up winning it back.
And he ended up getting bursting forward with it.
Yeah. Which is they're the traits you want to see. Yeah.
That's every player is going to make a mistake. With determination after making a mistake to not let that deflate you, or just get straight back into it to go again. That makes a big difference, and it's small stuff like that you can't really teach. It's just in a player, I feel like.
Yeah, but overall, I think it was more of a solid enough performance from the defence from Rovers. As I said, there was sloppy moments, But I don't think Ed, like for example, Ed McGinn didn't have to work too much.
No, he didn't. He really did not. He didn't have to do much. As I said, there was one kind of save, one kind of just rolled out, and that was from when Corey gave kind of a bad ball across and drawn. But again, it wasn't like he was forced to do much. He just kind of collected the ball.
Obviously, as I said, the stats and 66% possession, the 11 shot, but each keeper had 2 saves to make. Not
like difficult saves, really.
Yeah, so like the goalless draw wasn't really pretty, was it? You know,
no, it was a slog, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, which is frustrating as well. As I said, on the back of a good positive performance, but as I said, there is the fatigue that comes with it. Going down to Sligo to come back then and play on a Monday, and they've done that. You know, there was Shells last Monday, and Derry the Friday before. So and then what was it? Was Dundalk the Monday before Derry? No, am I getting that mixed up?
No, it wasn't. What was it?
No, it wasn't. No.
No, it was a Monday, but I think it was 2 Mondays before that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a bit. Yeah. But like that, Rovers have 3-4 Monday games so far already.
Yeah, and obviously 2 of them were due to the cancellations due to the rain. Still a lot on the player. It doesn't matter what reason it's for. It makes a difference. It's going to be tough on the players playing this much this early.
Yeah, well that's it, and that's where, as we keep touching on about man management from Bradley and the coach and staff, that how important it is that they do that. And then it's like, as well as that, each game, it's early in the season, yeah, but as I said, points matter. Points count the same as they do this early in the season versus later on in the season. But yeah, I just can't help but feel a little bit disappointed leaving that Drogheda game.
Yeah, it's always disappointing to see a 0-0 draw as well. It's just, there's nothing to talk, there's nothing to write home about after a 0-0 draw like that. But it's just disappointing. Yeah, it's a game that you definitely would be. That's what you say the players themselves would be kicking themselves if they weren't able to come out with all 3 points tonight.
The only thing I would say is, and maybe we should have posed this question to each other in the last episode, now that I think about it, but going into the Sligo Drogheda Friday Monday schedule, would you have been content with getting 4 points out of a possible 6? I put up on the page there the other day about what are the points expected. Stuart Wilson was saying he expected 6, but aim for 6 points. Obviously, that's always the aim to get maximum points and stuff. But I don't think getting 4 out of a possible 6 out of 2 away games is.
It's not a disaster. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just based on the game tonight. It was there. It was there. The 3 points were there for. It wasn't like they were. It wasn't like they were just hanging in for a draw. Drogheda were hanging in for the draw. And I don't think Rovers created loads, but it's one that you want them 3 points, and you feel the players themselves are probably kicking themselves that they haven't come out of this like two game away stretch with 6 points. And obviously back home now for Friday, but there's been a few away games now in a row. Yeah, and only 3 away games coming out with 5 points. If you put it like that, it's 5 from a possible 9 isn't as.
I don't think that doesn't sound as well.
Exactly, that's your point.
Yeah,
and I feel like if you were looking at it and you were saying they're playing them 3 teams, you'd be like, maybe a draw against Shells and win the other 2.
Yeah, you'd sacrifice 1.
You'd be happy with 7 from 9. Well, 5 from 9, it's not.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. And Drogheda is tough.
Yeah,
to go to, and so is Shelbourne. But yeah, 1 win out of 3 and 2 draws. No losses there,
No, it's good not to lose, but still, when you're looking at it as like them draws, are you looking at that as a point gain from each, or are you looking at it as 2 points lost?
Yeah, that's one for, I suppose, our listeners to stew on and think back. But we'll get a bit more.
We should talk about the 3 points we did get from them.
Exactly that. We'll get a bit more positive in this podcast because we're quite downbeat here. And look, it's nothing to be over. Like we didn't lose, and
It happens.
Yeah, like it's only early doors.
I know.
But it's just it's the manner in which
Yeah,
that
but
it
it
didn't
is
look
early
too.
doors. But if we just sat here and we're like, didn't say anything, we'd be a bit of a rubbish episode.
Yeah, exactly. Sat here in silence.
Yeah. Through the indicator.
But yeah, we'll talk about now the 3 points we did get, and that was Friday evening. Shamrock Rovers beat Sligo 2-0 at the Showgrounds. Quite a long away trip for some of us. One half of the car, the other half of the car had a prawn sandwich in hand.
Prawn sandwich.
Watching a match at the comfort of his own home.
Nah, I wouldn't have made it down on time at college.
All I'm hearing is excuses.
Sorry, my education's on this. This is more important than the hoops.
Oh, you're not
Listeners
gonna.
won't be happy with
Oh, you're not gonna be liked on this podcast.
Just getting hate.
Oh, the hate comments, I can see it now, and I'm not gonna stop them either. I'm gonna add.
Yeah, you'll be leaving when you be like that Adam fella. Don't like him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Get him off the show.
We're gonna make 10 different fake profiles on
They're all
Spotify.
called like Ryan Brennan, Ryan Rennan.
Ryan Reynolds. But yeah, no, we'll get on to Friday now. We beat Sligo 2-0. That was positive. That's something that was quite positive. I
Very
thought.
positive first half.
Very positive first half. It was 2-0. Could have been more. And the only negative was Pico got sent off.
Yeah.
Probably should have been whipped off before that. I know it's hard to maybe take the captain off, but he had a yellow. He's been playing so many minutes that I thought at that moment, after he got the yellow, I think he made another foul. And I thought he could just be withdrawn. They wouldn't have done much harm really. Sligo didn't look too threatening at any points, and yeah, obviously he ends up paying the price for it. Rovers first half really positive, and then second half after the red card they just had to soak the pressure then. And
you expect that, but to soak the pressure and knock it and like still get the 3 points is what you want, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the red card's never ideal, but being able to deal with that red card in a good manner and an adequate manner is definitely a good thing.
One thing I would say is
and a red card's such a big player.
Yeah, one thing I would say is Pico Lopez was very lucky not to have given away a penalty in that first half.
Yes. He could have been getting a red card
straight
a lot
off
earlier.
and straight red as well.
Yeah.
That wasn't
great.
I looked away and one of them nearly holding your breath kind of put,
it's one of
closing your eyes, hoping you don't hear a whistle in the near future. I think Rovers got away with that with one there, and a few Sligo fans on social media rightly disgruntled about that. By what I saw in the replays and stuff, even seeing it in real time, a couple of us looked at each other in the UA and even I was speaking to another chap in the UA and he was like, that looked like it was nearly a stone wall from our, and that was in live.
It's from a live perspective, yeah.
Yeah, like it's so.
Let alone when you see replays and it's in slow motion, you can make anything look like.
Yeah, exactly.
When you think it's a stone wall, but in real time, it's a bit like.
Then it probably is.
Yeah, realistically.
What did you make of it from the sofa?
I had the replays in the slow motion angle.
I heard you had it at Sky Sports Monday Night Football studio.
Yeah, the ref actually dialed me up on the reason it didn't get given.
Yeah, the VAR room.
I believe it was.
It looked it.
Have you watched it back?
I saw the replay back in the panel of the instant. So
yeah. And what did you think of it then?
Yeah, I thought my mind didn't change. I just
probably just made your mind up even more.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh yeah, like I thought, and it's funny because as I said, in real time we taught it in the UAN, most of us, to then for me to see the replay and thought, my mind's not been changed. Or haven't looked at it and thought, he instigates contact or he goes looking or whatever. It was like it just looked, it looked pretty much stone wall. So yeah, Pico got away with that.
He did, yeah.
But onto the positives.
Enough about ifs, buts and maybes.
They should have just put 2 more in the net then if that was the case. They didn't. I was left that very happy with that performance and thought there was a bit of disgruntled in the away end, just in the sense making the away end sound very miserable. But no,
it's like the old man from the Muppets.
But Yeah, no, it was good, and yeah, look, people weren't happy in the second half, just in the sense of having to soak that pressure and sit back a little bit and try only kind of nearly like what Drogheda done tonight.
Just sit
back and try hit them on the counter.
Not necessarily extremely negative football, but just rolling with the punches.
Exactly. Well, someone once said you got to roll with it, and
the music episodes are back.
But yeah, like so like that, I think Rovers had to do what they did, and they had to dig deep because like you're away, just in general. And you're down 10 men, and you have a 2-goal lead to hold on to. You're not just holding on for something,
Yeah.
You have a 2-goal lead. The Rovers look comfortable. Like, I didn't think they really similar to the way Drogheda were tonight. There's a common theme there that I think Rovers actually tend to look quite solid at the back, where they're not leaking chances, and that's something that we touched on already before. I think
you mentioned it kind of after 1 or 2 matches.
Yeah, but it's good that we're still saying it, and we're reviewing currently now 2 games that took place over the space of 4 days. That
the back line has looked solid in all of them.
Like no goals conceded.
No, that's definitely a positive. Obviously, yeah, they did concede the 2 in the Shells match, but they were early on, and once they settled into the game, they again looked solid at the back for that period.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't really argue. You can say what you want about not getting as many points as you would have liked from this stretch, but it's hard to fault the back line in that period. That was outside of them opening kind of abysmal 15 minutes in Tolkien Park, the back line has looked very solid and weren't making chances. Or even tonight there was one kind of mistake from Corey O'Sullivan that led to kind of a half chance. I think the back line recovered very well.
Yeah.
In that case. And again, for example, against Sligo, even down to 10 men, they weren't leaking chances, and Sligo weren't getting clear-cut and good chances, really, that you often expect when a team does drop down a bit.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that completely, and particularly one shout out as well, maybe 2 honourable mentions is like for Corey O'Sullivan and particularly Lee Grace. 2 of the lads played 180 minutes across the 2 games.
Yeah.
And I know, look, Corey might sometimes have his critics to an extent, rightly or wrongly, but
he has the odd blip.
Yeah, and he's still very young as well.
He's young. You forget because he's been in the squad so consistently.
The expectations rise. Like he's still 19.
Is he 19?
Yeah.
I just remember him making the debut. Well, not his debut, but his first
goal.
Yeah, his first goal against Waterford.
Yeah, that was unbelievable as well.
That was great.
But yeah, no. So like them two lads, 180 minutes across the 2 games in Sligo and Drogheda. Like you need. I think Lee Grace for one was really solid. Like that's one.
Very solid again. Very solid across both games.
Yeah. Like he's just one that looks stronger and stronger, and he's filling in. Not that obviously there's not been wholesale changes around like that, but to an extent there has been. But across the back 3, say for example, the 3 centre backs, obviously it's like Corey there, so that was the stable one. And then you had Pico Lopez on Friday having to cover that gap then himself and Corey with when he did get sent off, slotted in very well there, made it look short of the defence, didn't create any kind of uncertainty for fans in the away end particularly. Especially
against Drogheda, because no Pico and no Dan Cleary, so he's kind of stepping in as you usually expect them 2 boys to be in the squad.
Yeah.
So he was really stepping up as kind of the main man at the back.
Yeah.
You can't fault him at any point across the 2 matches.
Exactly that.
No, like you could probably sit there and say he didn't really put a foot wrong across the 2 matches.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of one,
Yeah, I can't.
And even I think particularly in the 2 games we've just seen,
I would have put him as man of the match against Sligo.
Yeah,
if it was me doing it.
Yeah.
If I was on the telly.
Well, I thought you were there, man.
Social media Harvey.
Yeah, like he was really solid. One that popped up, I initially thought it was Lee Grace, but it was Danny Grant that scored that unbelievable goal.
Yeah.
Just before half time.
What a strike.
Me and another chap beside me, the same one, thought it was Lee Grace. Yeah, we were chatting for a load of the game. Don't know, I didn't catch his name.
I watched the football then, right?
but because both of them had similar colour boots. They both had like orangey boots.
Cracking strength.
Oh, unbelievable. But like that, we both thought then it was League race, and so I'm just telling Adam where to come off the M50 here. Again, this is what you do on the Milltown Way podcast.
We're not Joe Rogan here.
Well, we do have a can of Monster. Actually, I'm going to take a sip of now that I'm going off cracking open a cold one, but it's just not. It's just not the right stuff.
Well, you're on the way to the right stuff now.
But yeah, I think like that, the Danny Grant goal against Sligo was unbelievable. It looked great from where we were. Dips over and crosses over everyone. Really, really good. And Danny Grant won. He does have his critics.
Yeah.
Continued to kind of have his critics when he came on tonight against Drogheda. So one that did struggle a little bit. One you do look at and you think you want to see him perform and do well.
Yeah, you do. You always do. As much as you want all Rovers players to perform and do well, there's that little bit extra with him.
As we said before, former bows, there's that additional incentive.
There's that little.
Still directing at him here, sorry lads.
John thinks he's the sat.
I feel like I'm a driving tester.
You're gonna get me to reverse around the corner.
But yeah, no. So with Danny Grant, more as an additional incentive for him to do well, former bowls, but like he does have his credit, and you can see where the mistakes come. A little bit similar to Jake Mulroney tonight against Drogheda, where he got quite a bit, not abuse or anything like that, just a bit, as I said, critics kind of, a couple of the stuff he was doing, made a couple of mistakes and ended up doing a lot of fancy footwork that didn't end up paying off, and that when Rovers are already 0-0 and it's getting late in the game, it's only going to infuriate supporters more.
Yeah, that's true. Which it makes sense. I would be somebody sometimes would be infuriated with stuff like that, but
the fancy footwork, just do the basics.
When it's not necessary, when you can do the basics, then you can do the fancy stuff. But also, I just like Danny Grant. I don't like getting angry at Danny Grant. I just don't know. He's got something about
Danny Grant. Running down the wing. Yeah. And he hates the something bows. Don't swear in this podcast.
No, none of that. Family friendly show. PG.
But yeah, overall 4 points from 6. Can't be too aggravated about that. And yeah, as I said, signing off another solid defensive performance. It's just going forward is where the issues seem to be lying. But I suppose we'll move it on a little bit. Yeah. The workload that comes with these two games is squad management.
Very much so, yeah.
Busy schedule, and Rovers again. They'll play on Friday against Drogheda United, which we'll get onto again a little bit later. But like that, it's just tough.
Playing so many matches.
As was kind of like I'd be one to always say, like, who would be a manager? Because
you're just under scrutiny as well all the time. It's just particularly for Bradley,
Glenn Crone and Sean Kavanagh,
having to
staff,
keep like one up in success, like
that. Yeah, that. But like you're managing a current crop that, essentially, vast majority of the Rovers squad, as I said, a huge amount will be used and will all play a crucial part in whatever success Rovers have this year. Yeah. But essentially, they'd all get a starting place in any other club
in the league. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying every single player, but the vast majority.
Yeah, majority.
So you're managing that as well. That there'll be lads who are missing out and thinking they should be in next game.
Yeah, it's the people management, that aspect. Yeah.
And that's something Bradley obviously does so well, and current players, former players all speak so highly of him. Well, this is it. So yeah, it's just managing that balance is something that it's been crucial, and he's done well, continues to do well. That's why you're seeing Rovers win the double last year.
Yeah. Consistently win the league as well.
Yeah, well, that's it. And then obviously as well, you had tonight was Melise Asamoah's debut.
Yeah.
He didn't feature on Friday. Bradley initially said he was going to feature on Friday against Sligo, but he didn't.
Yeah.
I presume then it was because Pico's red card.
Yeah, probably was to do with that. Yeah.
I would have imagined. I could have seen him coming on before that, and then obviously red card shakes things up.
Yeah, you want to go to a more defensive approach then, I suppose, and make more defensive-minded substitutions, really, don't you?
Yeah. Now, of course, he was suspended until Sligo.
Yeah.
So he was going to miss out anyways. But played tonight. Any early impressions of Benzema?
Didn't do loads tonight. I don't want to slave too early, but
It'd be a bit harsher.
no, I don't think anyone you could write home about was exceptional outside of the back line tonight, as we said.
Yeah.
As we've sung Lee Grace's praise.
Yeah.
I just don't think anyone
superb.
like when you have that much possession and you're only getting 2 shots on target, it's hard to praise any of the attacking players exceptionally well. And I don't think he was necessarily bad out of anyone there. I just don't think any of them played exceptionally well, really.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah.
That's too harsh. Fair enough, but
No, it's a fair point.
I don't think it was at him. I think it was just
the squad as a whole.
a bit of attack.
I think there's definitely a bit more of a lenience for him because
Yeah, it's his first game.
it's his debut for Rovers, you know.
And he has to get used to being in the squad, and yeah, there's always has to be a little bit of leniency for someone to sit when they're fresh in, like.
Yeah. But that's it. Like, and I think he showed glimpses of promise. You know, not to say we're not sitting here saying that he's going to be a world beater. He could end up being, but the crucial aspect.
We're not saying he's not going to be.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you did. You started off by saying he wasn't.
No,
you said you never want to see him in a Rovers shirt. Can I? So.
Yeah, that's exactly my exact words.
But it's crucial for Rovers. I know we state this, we say it already and stuff, but it's crucial for Rovers in this current kind of climate, you know, managing this squad, and you know, like with European that's going to come in the summer, the European football, the cup games, it's going to come thick and fast. And at the minute, it's coming thick and fast because it's a Friday, Monday, so it's a little bit.
Eventually, will be Thursday, Sunday then, will it?
No, it's going to be Wednesday. It's going to be.
The qualifiers will be Thursdays.
No.
Why not be Wednesday?
They will be when we're in the Champions League. Starting off in the Champions League anyway. So.
Yeah. When do they officially start?
I think it's in July.
Yeah. It'll probably be after the World Cup, will it?
I don't know the timelines. Surely it would be, like, because
peak then for a while.
You know that
he'll be gone for the World Cup, and then obviously he'll need a few weeks off.
Yeah. Well, not for the Champions League.
Yeah.
Going for the competition. But no, like it's so important for. Like, I know we've said it before and stuff, but it's so important that these minutes get managed. As I said, you're for the short term kind of maybe sacrifices now and again of for example, you have Victor Ozimbuna coming off early today. That's all also with the summer in mind of, you know.
Yeah, getting them players for the long term. Not just playing them all and wearing them out now.
Because, yeah, and it's so easy. You see it in in any kind of domestic league or anything like that, where injuries can easily come, and they can be quite nearly, you know, they can be severe injuries that come with getting overloaded quite early on, and all of a sudden then you have
suddenly very short in the middle of the season.
Oh, but yeah, that too, and like all of a sudden they might get a big injury that makes them miss a huge bulk of the season, where if you just kind of manage it game by game. Like one still I haven't seen is Rory Gaffney. The doubts are creeping.
Season on, season off. That's what he does.
Exactly, yeah. He'll be back.
Fly in, fly out.
Last season he came back to win the double. He won't be here this season, and then he'll come back next season to win the treble.
Yeah, it's fantasy.
Champions League, League of Ireland, FAI Cup. But yeah, I suppose that's one thing that's important to remember as we have this busy schedule. Obviously, there's the international break after Rovers play Galway on Friday, so a bit more of a break there until Rovers play Waterford 2 weeks after that. But the other news that came around Rovers, it's quieting down a little bit on the news front, because they were coming thick and fast at one point, where you had pitching. It is on the back of the pitch inspection, but it's the pitch inspection.
News for what?
The newsroom. So I'm still directing Adam here, because we're going around my ends, not his.
Yeah.
Straight on there, Adam. Yeah. Just go around these taxis here. Just follow the bend around to each left at the lights. This is what you get. This is your Milltown Way. This is what you listen for.
Your location, though. Have the fans outside your door.
Demanding a re-record. But yeah, no. What I would say is there's a lot of news coming around thick and fast, but now obviously it's quieting down a little bit. The only news that we had was that the South Dublin County Council have launched their own kind of investigation of the postponement of Rovers' proposed league opener with Dundalk that was obviously rescheduled for the 23rd of February and ended up probably, I'd say, a loss in ticket sales as the club kind of nearly already mentioned. But like that, they've launched their own investigation. They've ended up suspending 2 members of staff as well, which is there's something to be said for that, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bit of a weird situation.
It's a weird one to be in, isn't it? It's just not. Yeah, it's a weird place to be in.
Actually suspended 3 staff members.
3.
Yeah, the official from the Irish Times was that they have suspended 3 staff members after it was received a complaint that the pitch at Tallaght Stadium was watered despite heavy rain, leading the Shamrock Rovers' first home match of the season being called off. Now, the funny thing about this is, of course, social media and the rival supporters will have their own. They'll run away with this.
Yeah, they will. They'll run with that news.
And I've already seen stuff on the likes of Twitter, of say Bows fans and stuff saying that why would the reigning champions try to get their first game postponed. People were saying that it's because Rovers intentionally got it postponed because the lack of preparation time because of the Conference League participation.
Yeah.
It's a lot of conspiracy.
It's a lot.
You need to remember Rovers lodged a
Get your
complaint.
tinfoil hats on.
But Rovers lodged a complaint. Yeah. Why would Rovers lodge a complaint? If it makes no sense to me, huh?
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's a bit weird. It's a bit a weird and odd situation.
The article also continued to say that it's understood that this council's investigation and the suspension of staff from its public realm division followed a complaint from the club after CCTV was reviewed. Rovers declined to comment on the matter, but obviously the game was supposed to go ahead on the 6th of February. The league opener ended up being postponed. Now, it was also a record rainfall.
Yeah, it was.
But obviously the investigation is around 3 staff members getting suspended, which does raise kind of slight alarm bells what is going on. And I think if the South Dublin County Council are doing their own investigation, it's fair enough. However, I do think that there might need to be a little bit of transparency around what is actually going on. I know it's maybe a little bit more of a delicate matter, but at the same time, I think Rovers fans deserve to know what's going on.
Yeah, they deserve to be kept in the know.
I think if the South Dublin County Council own Rovers, Tallaght Stadium, and Rovers are tenants there. However, Rovers fulfill 36 league games, but they fulfill a minimum 18 home league games there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's before they play any cup games or European games there. Rovers deserve to know what's going on. Why are 2 staff members getting or 3? I keep saying 2. 3 staff members getting suspended. There's not a lot of information around the matter. Just that the council are investigating and suspended staff members. So I do think a little bit of transparency is deserved for Rovers fans, a bit of peace of mind, and also to kind of silence the noise around it, because at the moment it's looking, as I said, what people are saying on social media, it's more like people are kind of thinking, Rovers are trying to postpone the game themselves. When
yeah.
Now, I know on the other hand it is that they did launch their complaint themselves, so why would they do that if they had any part to play? But as said, it's a little bit
it's a bit of a tricky one to be in.
Bit of a weird situation. But we will look ahead now to the final game before the international break. It is Shamrock Rovers taking on Galway United on Friday night at Tallaght Stadium under the lights, 8 PM kickoff. As I said, the final one before the break. What's your take on that? How do you view that now after they're on the back of these 2 games?
It's definitely one I think they can win. You'd be hoping for a win. Well, Galway, obviously, coming off a big win tonight, a 4-3 win. The only game that had more than 1 goal in it.
You said you're happy to see Galway and Watford getting screen time on Virgin Media, and they've just shown why they do that, because every other game combined had 1 goal.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but I think
8 goals were scored in the league tonight.
7
in one game.
That's mad.
1 in another, and that was it.
1 and the other 4.
Like, how was 3 goalless draws?
It's
I could see that with Shells and Bows.
yeah, I had it written all over it, but yeah, Galway, they won, I suppose. Waterford continue their unbeaten. They're not unbeaten, unwinning.
They're winless run of 7 games, 0-1, 2 drawn, and 5 lost.
They have to realistically have to beat Galway. They have to. Galway win, they'll be a point behind Rovers.
That's funny. It's funny how the table works this year.
It is. It's mad. But again, it's early days, but it's one that, as we mentioned earlier, of a game that you'll be looking at the end of the season as one you should have won.
Yeah,
beating Galway at home is one that you think.
Yeah, and as well as that, it's one of them that you look at and think, you know, like when you look at the fixtures at the start of the season, or just in general, you look at the line of the schedule line up.
Yeah.
You think where will Rovers pick up points, where will they drop points, and this is one where you think they should be picking up points.
Yeah.
Of course, the last time Rovers played Galway in Tala, ended 1-0. Dylan Watt's free kick, and that sealed Rovers' 22nd league title.
Yeah.
Last year, so.
Well. Yeah.
That was when Rovers eventually fell over the line.
About time.
But no, Friday I wouldn't like to see that performance again.
No,
it's the one that beat Galway 1-0 last year. 1 to Rovers now. Again, similar to same stuff of defensively. The structure Rovers have at the minute is solid, so you want to remain that, and you want to keep that intact, but you also want to make sure that Rovers just make them attacking improvements, because there's so many long balls that went astray tonight against Drogheda, and it's wasteful. And you know, when you're setting up position and say Rovers have the ball, obviously say Drogheda are dropping back, that's when you begin to take shape. So you don't want to see that again. You know, it's like learn to kind of maybe, or try to create more through just playing through it. Yeah. Through that kind of defensive setback of, you know, obviously they're putting men behind the ball, and I'm expecting Galway to do the same on Friday. It's about breaking that down. It's just, the attacking options. I just think there needs to be slight tweaks here to Rovers' creativity, or the lack of, maybe, because it just didn't. There wasn't a period tonight where Rovers looked overly threatening. So, and I think it might get similar to the same stuff on Friday against Galway. Yeah,
I expect that. Yeah, it's just you just want them to be coming away with the 3 points now this weekend, and that's going into the international break on a win would be quite nice.
Yeah. Galway will be heading in with confidence a little bit anyways as well, after beating Waterford 4-3 in a thriller.
On the telly as well.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I know Galway went 4-2 up tonight and then conceded another to make it that went 4-3, so probably just a little bit of they hung on as well, maybe. Obviously we didn't see the game at Rovers, but it's one of them that I think they'll be confident in getting the 3 points in anyways. It was just their second win of the season out of 7 games.
Yeah.
They've collected 8 points after 7 games. It's just, it's one that it's also early on, but the management of minutes for these players.
Tough. It's tricky to get the balance right, isn't it? Especially when there's so many games to be played.
Well, that's it. But like the other side of the coin as well is obviously maybe a large spell will have that kind of 2 week, not rest, but you know, as in no games for majority of the squads, for example. So it is about they need to take this break, and they need to, you know, like, this is essentially their only break till the summer, really.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
And then it comes in, I said, we get European football, the cup starts to begin, so it'll very quickly turn around, and it'll very quickly be a lot heavier than what it is already. I know Friday, Monday is so common anyways, but so this 2 week break that they'll have between playing Galway on Friday and then Waterford away, and 2 weeks after that, it's just one that it's important, so they need to take that break. And it's also more important that they sign off now this current crop of fixtures with 3 points against Galway.
Yeah, and good way to go into the international break, a big international break as well.
Get up against Czechia, Ireland.
Oh, getting a bit dangerous.
But for Rovers, they did miss the opportunity to take advantage of the top two, dropping points as well. So they'll want to make sure they put that right. as well. You know, obviously Bow's drawn with Shells and Pat's drawn with Derry, so that's important as well. The other side of it is that, you know, like Pat's go to Waterford on Friday, Bow's host Dundalk.
Yeah.
Like on paper, maybe you'd expect both of the top two to win.
Yeah.
But the league doesn't never really follow what's on paper.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's difficult. Not that we do predictions or anything, but it's just a difficult one to think of how it's going to unfold on Friday.
Yeah, it is, and it's just nice to when you're gonna have a bit of a break. It's nice to go into that break with having as good a game as possible and not ending on a high note, but taking a break on a high note.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to leave it on a sour note and then have to wait 2 weeks sitting on that kind of.
And it's sitting in your stomach.
Yeah, you can just taste it you get a taste in the back of your mouth. Leaving that sour taste in your mouth for 2 weeks until Waterford to put it right, and then obviously after the international break, it's Waterford back to Friday.
Yeah.
Waterford away, Shelbourne at home, Pats away. So like it just keeps coming thick and fast. And their double game weeks that are still happening. You know, like it's not because of postponement anymore.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and Bradley will know as well going into Friday night that it's very important that they sign off with 3 points before taking a 2 week break, and you don't want. I think if again, not without reading too much into it, but I just think if Rovers don't put in a positive performance on Friday, like that's 8 games. Doubts will start to creep in over the break, and that, you know, people have 2 weeks to kind of let them doubts build without having any chance to squash the doubts.
Yeah.
So if Rovers don't leave on a high on Friday, it kind of just leaves that room for doubts to creep, more doubts to creep in.
Yeah.
You know,
and to sit in the mind as well.
Yeah, like people have time to let it stew over, and because so far with the 7 league games and the President's Cup game that Rovers have played, in terms of attacking football, I don't think Sligo was positive 100%. No, there's no doubt about it. And it was a good attacking performance. I think it probably would have continued.
Yeah.
In the second half, could have maybe been 3 or 4 in the second half if it wasn't for the red card. Shells was a positive attacking performance. Arthur they had to go 2 down for it to start. Really did start well as well at goalless when it was 0-0 as well. But there was, it did kind of eventually the goals came after they go 2 down.
Yeah.
So you have that. So aside from that, there's definitely been lulls for Rovers.
Yeah, there definitely has.
That you look at and you think you need I think it's not essential, but Rovers just need to buckle up a bit. I think with the attacking prowess, and I know obviously rotating. You have John McGovern going up there, Graham Burke, Michael Neal, and Aaron Green. You're kind of mixing that variety up maybe. But again, it's just like today, what we saw with the long balls, it's not working really, and it can be quite wasteful.
Yeah, the long balls get frustrating after a while of just hoofing them forward.
Yeah, and Jack Byrne is coming into form, or maybe he's not coming into form, maybe he's already been in form. Dylan Watts is just always permanently kind of would deliver a minimum 7 out of 10 really.
Yeah.
But they're in your midfield, so that front two need to, I think, deliver more as well. John McGovern is one that is a workhorse.
Yeah.
You see the effort he puts in every game, and he's chasing the balls that maybe are going astray, but it just needs to be that improvement now that Rovers need to take a little bit of a step up and think the current, I think, equality of the attacking performances to date, I don't think are sustainable. That if Rovers want to keep going and keep pushing for these titles and deliver on all fronts, there needs to be the tweaks, and it's early doors now, so this is a time, and with the 2 week break after Galway, it's definitely the time to do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, and it's just to get into that rhythm and just get into a bit more of a better rhythm going forward, really, isn't it?
Yeah. But I suppose that's it.
Yeah.
From our car episode.
Yeah, the driving episode.
As I said, you might have heard some background. We're parked up now. Finally got Adam to where he had to go. But yeah, so that's it from our driving episode. You might have heard some background noise, indicators, car, the engine running, maybe us crashing. But yeah, so the other obviously dimensions that we do make sure that you participate in the club lotto. All the money raised for that goes towards the club, the academies as well.
Done every Monday.
Yeah, every Monday. And then you don't have to be a member or a season ticket holder. You just have to be over 18 to enter. So yeah, make sure you get emailed with the results as well. So do make sure you take part in that. That's, it's always for a good initiative.
Yeah.
The other mention is, of course, that the fun run takes place at Dublin 22 Supporters Club. The fun run takes place on Sunday, 29th of March. It's at 11:30 a.m. in Corker Park. €20 entry for Oscar's Kids, a charity that is, of course, close to the club's heart. So make sure you get that. You can follow them on the Dublin 22 Supporters Club on social media, and you'll get all your information there. From the Milltown Way perspective, make sure you listen to this episode. Make sure you share it around. Follow us on the usuals, your Spotify's, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you get it. Make sure you do follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and do let us know what you think of the podcast, and what you think of even current Rover situation with maybe the Michael Noonan saga that seems to have pointed down.
Yeah.
Or of course that the South Dublin County Council are spending 3 staff members over
Rovers.
Over CCTV footage that Rovers reviewed.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but no, keep supporting the page, the Milltown Way. It goes a long way for us, and it makes it definitely more than worthwhile doing it when we do hear back from fans and supporters of the page. But yeah, I suppose that's it from episode 20 on the road back from Drogheda, and we'll chat to you after Galway.
Thank you.